Vince Lombardi once said, "It is time for us all to stand and cheer for the doer, the achiever, the one who recognizes the challenges and takes action." This video is a tribute to those quiet heroes, nameless strangers who see an opportunity, step in to make a difference. This is the story of such an act of unexpected kindness, which unfolded in a small Chinese restaurant tucked away in the corner of a strip mall in a less than ideal part of town. New China is my favorite Chinese takeout. It's about 10 miles from my house. On this particular day, I happened to be in the area and I decided to stop in. I placed my order and sat down along the wall, not far from the counter. From my seat, I could overhear some of the conversations between the customers and the cashier. As I sat there, two men walked in. By all appearances, they were father and son. Let's call them Frank and Sam. Frank was no longer able to navigate the world as he once had. He was unsteady on his feet, and Sam kept a firm grip on the strap around Frank's chest, guiding him carefully. Frank's condition was heartbreaking. It was also heartwarming to see Sam take such good care of him. When they reached the counter, Sam explained to his father that they were in a Chinese restaurant. Then a third man entered. Let's call him Tom. He was an older gentleman. There were no signs of recognition between Tom, Frank, and Sam. After a moment, Frank and Sam seemed unable to decide on their order and chose a booth to sit and think about it. Tom approached the counter and placed his order, then did something unexpected. Tom got closer to the window, instructing the cashier to add $25 to his bill, specifically for Frank and Sam's order. Additionally, Tom requested that if Sam asked who paid for their meal, the cashier should say that the person had already left. Tom sat down a few seats away from me, and I watched. A few minutes later, Sam approached the counter to place their order. He decided on a single entree to share with his father, but he asked about a small change. The cashier informed him that there would be a small upcharge, which made Sam hesitate before agreeing to the additional cost. That was the entirety of the order. Then the cashier explained to Sam that his bill had already been covered. In fact, there was more than enough money for a second meal. Sam, unsure about the situation, hesitated again. The cashier repeated that the meal had already been paid for by a previous customer. At this point, Sam doubled the original order, still confused by the turn of events. Finally, Sam asked who had paid for the meal. As requested, the cashier simply replied that customer had already left. Before finalizing the order, the cashier asked if Sam would like any drinks. Realizing that drinks would put him over the $25 that had already been paid, Sam hesitated another time. But the cashier reassured him that there would be no additional charge. Sam picked up 2 Dr. Peppers and returned to his booth with his father. At that moment, my food was ready and I left the restaurant. But the story had already been told. Let's take a moment to celebrate Sam, who didn't just place his father in a home. He gave his father the most important thing he had, and the one thing that his father needed, his time. And then there's Tom. Tom wasn't just a passive bystander, observing the world around him. He was a doer, someone who recognized the need, stepped in without hesitation, and not wanting any recognition. Tom came from a generation that was taught to be humble. There were no influencers in the 60s. Only actors and politicians craved the limelight. Tom didn't want any part of that. I hope you've enjoyed this story. If so, like and subscribe. And thank you.